Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be playing with the Glimmer of the Month from Spellbinders for April 2023, and this one is really fun. Okay, we've got a Glimmer plate that is all these pretty leaves, and then we've got a die where we can cut out different sections of the leaves and a couple of cool sentiments. We've got one that says, have an unbelievable day and celebrate the little things. And then this is the first time I've seen it in a Glimmer of the Month. Probably been out there, but not during the time that I've been getting these, which has been almost 2 years. We've got a layering stencil, and what's even cooler with this is like you've got two stencils on the same piece, so you can't really lose one of them. So what this is going to do is we're going to foil with this. Then we can lay our stencil over the top of our design. And this one does full coverage of those leaves. And then this one, which of course I had the wrong direction. It's really going to be easy to line up once you know where they're supposed to go. Okay, it goes this way, I think. Yeah. So, or not. Anyway, you've got a second one that's going to do the detail part. It's going to be easier once I get everything foiled up and I can start adding some color. So that basically means you can make your leaves two-tone plus the shiny foil, so that is going to be awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. First thing I need to do is add some foil to my card, and to do that I'm going to use the foil that came with my set this time. This month I got some blush. I don't know what color foil you're going to get because I think it's kind of a random thing, but it's nice that the Glimmer of the Month you get some shiny foil to go along with all of your shiny plates. And I'm going to use my quick trimmer to trim my foil just the right size. I like using this better than just my scissors. My scissors tend to have some kind of sticky on them most of the time. Not bad, but enough so that if I try to cut my foil, it's not going to be as straight as I want, and I usually wind up tearing it and stuff. That's just me. And these also come with a couple of little blades. This blade says foil. The other one says paper, so you can use this to cut your paper as well. I do want to make sure that I use the foil one so that I don't have in a blade that is going to be dulled by cutting paper. Now I can just lay my little foil plate on top and cut right along in one of those grooves, and then I've got a perfectly sized piece of foil to go with my panel here. So for this first card, I think what I'm going to try to do is put this in the center. I'm going to use some of my best ever craft tape from Spellbinders. And going ahead and putting my foil down. I'm able to do that right now because my AC has not kicked on. And then place that right over the top and trying to position that as close as I can to the center of the card. Now, if it's not in the right spot, you know what? I can always trim the edges to make it actually be a centered piece. And I'm going to trim down the corners anyway. So I'm just adding that down onto my plate. And I'll bring over my Glimmer system. This is already nice and hot. You can see that the power button's on, the platform ready is on, and now I can add this on there. Whenever you're using any foil, make sure you go with the pretty shiny side up, away from the card. Underneath, it's going to be a matte gray, and that's where the adhesive is, and it's a heat-activated adhesive. So I'm going to turn this over so that the flat part of my plate is touching my Glimmer system. Put my plates on top. One is a spacer pad and the other is a thin shim. Then I'm going to just hit the timer over here. And when the timer stops blinking, it's ready to go, and I can run this through my Platinum 6 die cutting machine. So next, now that the light has stopped blinking, I can go ahead and send this through. I'm going to just go through there. I am right-handed. I've got my crank on the wrong side. That is still okay. It's still going to work. Anyway, I'm going ahead and cranking that through. I'm going to run it back. And that's kind of what they recommend from Spellbinders, but you don't always have to. And let me get my Platinum 6 out the way. And let's take a look and see how that plate turned out. One of the things that you get with your Glimmer system is this magnet, and sometimes it's not strong enough. If it's not strong enough, use a different magnet, which I do a lot. This one actually is perfect. So let me go ahead and pull that off. Do need to remove the tape. And I'm probably going to have a little bit of overfoiling where the tape was attached to the foil itself. So I have had that happen. Also being careful not to touch the plates too much because the plates are going to be hot. So be careful and protect your fingers. Okay, so looking at this, you can see all that, all the yumminess. Oh my goodness, that looks so pretty. Let that cool for just a sec and then we will take a look. And there we go. I can already tell that there is a little bit of overfoiling, but not a lot. That is totally fine. So next what we're going to do is we're going to color this guy up. I am plugging my machine back in because I got excited as soon as I saw this plate. So I'm going to definitely be doing a couple more. So I'm going to leave this over to the side and let that one heat up. First, I want to make sure I get off any overfoiling that might be on here. I'm just going to run over it with regular rubber eraser, and this is going to kind of take off some of that little excess that I saw on some of the leaves. So now you can see all of those leaves pretty clearly. Next, let's grab out our stencil. I'm going to start off with this part that is the bigger pieces. So that's going to be the solid shapes. And I just need to make sure I get it in the right positions. There we go. And I am going to tape this onto my card to make sure that it doesn't slide, okay? I do have magnets over here to hold everything in place if I want to. Another thing you'll notice is that there are a couple little circle holes. And those are so that you can line everything right back up. So I'm going to try that one too. Just need to grab a pencil, because that way I can erase it. Assuming I can find here's my pencil. Okay. So I'm going to just draw a little circle inside that. I'm going to erase it once we're done. Okay. And I'm going to grab out some of my inks. Now today, I think for this first one, I'm debating. I'm thinking I want to do some blue just because I like blue, but you could go any color that you want to. You could stick with the traditional greens or you can go with something different. So I'm going to start off with all that jazz. And I do have my my blue blending brush. This one's one of my smaller ones. Let me make sure I don't have a lot of excess ink on there, which I don't, which is good. I like picking up first from inside the lid because I'm going to be not going to use it for anything else, right? I'm just going to go over all of my little leaves here, and I'm going to try not to go, should probably use a little bit more tape. I'm going to be careful. I don't want to go onto my card. I want to stay in place, number one, and I don't want to go into any of those other spots accidentally. So you do want to try to mask it off if you can. So I'm masking off the additional bits there, and I'm covering up those little circles so I don't accidentally go over those. So stenciling is really, really easy, but sometimes you want to be a little bit careful if you want to make sure everything is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start adding that color in. And just making sure that I stay away from the edges that I don't have taped off, because I did not tape off everything. And by the way, this is the first time that I've used this stencil and this Glimmer set. So if I make any kind of mistakes, you know what? It's going to be fine, but you're seeing it firsthand what it looks like first time you try it, right? Okay. Y'all ready to see what it looks like when I do the reveal? So now all of those are all colored up with that pretty blue ink. And you can leave it at that. You don't have to do it with an additional color. I'm going to do an additional color though. So let me clean up my stencil because I don't want to transfer this ink over onto that. This is water reactive, so I can just use a little spritz of water to be able to clean it all up. Okay. And I'm going to take off the sticker that came with it to label what it was. And that's something I do need to clean up as well. That's got a little bit of stickum there too. Okay. So this is the way we went that time. So I am going to go ahead and just turn it. And that's not the right direction, so it's probably supposed to go this way. I'm going to take off all of this tape. That's also going to help me be able to see where everything's supposed to go. But I do know that I did it with this side up. So my assumption is it's going to be the same side up when you do the second one. So if I'm right on that, we should be able to shift down and put them right over, that's where I started, shift up and go right over where those circles are. So we've got that circle. And then we have that circle, and it lines up perfectly. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to hold this in place. Tape down the edges, and then do another taping across the top so I don't accidentally go over that other bit like before, right? We want to make sure that we don't go through those additional holes that are on the other side. And covering up the hole again. And I'm just looking again to double check, make sure everything is still positioned right. Okay, so now, since this is my blue brush, I'm going to continue to use it, but this time I'm going to go on there with some suede shoes through all of those little holes. You can actually go over with the same color ink, and what that does is it usually just gives you a darker piece on the part that you go over the second time. But I want it to be a little bit darker than this. So, and I am making sure I'm getting good that one in the corner that's not covered, but it's close, right? And stenciling is a way to get some real fast coloring done. Okay, I didn't cover up my circle here, so I have to make sure it doesn't go through there. So I'm masking it pretty much with my finger. And it looks like there's some more ink needed in the middle and then off to this side. So I think that is good. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that stencil one more time. And there we've got our two-tone little leaves. I think that turned out so pretty. So I think that that turned out fabulous. I'm going to go ahead and erase those little circle circle guides that I added to the card. And those are just there so that you can kind of know where to line everything up. It does look like I got a little excess ink here. So for that, I'm going to grab out one of my sand erasers. And it's so minor that most likely nobody would notice. Okay, well, I have decided that I am not going to use the die this time, but I did want to show you how that would work on here. So just line that up, and then you've got this full section of little leaves that you can cut out. This time I'm going to leave that. This is going to be my background. I am leaving that as my background. I think it is gorgeous. Then I'm going to also use one of the sentiments that came in the set. This one is the one that says, "Have an unbelievable day." So I'm going to use a piece of my best ever craft tape and go ahead and just add a little hinge. And you can do more than one at a time. I'm just going to do the one and leave it at that. I'm going to just lay this down right under where my sentiment's going to go. And just fold that over the top. And I think I am going to take another piece of tape just so that I can make sure everything stays in place. Because I want to make sure that the foil stays underneath my plate. I have tried foiling things and have it not foil correctly because part of my plate shifted a little bit before I put it on my platform. Okay, go ahead and trim that down a little bit. Since this one is a sentiment, I'm also going to, just like we do with die cuts, put it at an angle, because that's going to make it go through the machine easier. And it is already saying the platform is ready, so I'll go ahead and put my plates down and hit the timer buttons. So that one is all nice and hot. Let's go ahead and take off the tape. And the only reason I'm using a knife with it is because I don't want to get my fingers too close to that hot Glimmer plate, because they are hot. And if I was smart, I would use my little finger things, but I don't. Okay, so that turned out absolutely perfect. Oh, and I just caught that the sentiment says, "Have an unbelievable day." That is super cute. So this is going to be a little more than 3 inches by 4.5. So just a little bit off. Okay. Then I do have a couple of card bases over here. Oh, yep. That's it. Sometimes I look at something and I am thrilled that my idea is actually going to work out the way I want it to. Because I love foam so much, I'm also going to add some foam tape to the back of this center panel. Okay, and then I can place that down right in the center. Now, if you are like me and you know that you're probably going to get it off not quite straight, you can put some liquid glue on the back. I'm going to just wing it this time and actually got it in the center, and that looks great. Now, I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back of my sentiment, and this is just some art glitter glue. And put that down right in the middle there. And that card is done. I don't think it needs anything more. This is a great card just because, to give to someone just because. And if you decide that the color is a little too dark, you can always put a piece of white cardstock on the inside to put your personal message. Anyway, that's going to finish up this card video using the Glimmer of the Month for April 2023. If you'd like to see more card videos where I'm using Spellbinders products, be sure to check out this playlist over here. And you guys have an unbelievable day. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.